It's just really sad as a gay man who grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s when it wasn't, as bad as it had been, but it still wasn't really talked about. It was still very much don't ask, don't tell, which was the name of the military policy back then.
Yes.
And then as I went into college and beyond.
2000s was like the flourishing of
it finally was out in the open. It was being taught in schools that we exist. Teachers felt like they could safely say that they were gay. And then now we're seeing this reaction to that because we came out into the public eye. We were visible. And being visible means it's okay. And now these people are afraid that their kids are going to think it's okay and be who they are.
Yeah.
We're not converting anybody. I can tell you, you can't switch, Nobody turned me straight by showing me all the straight movies and all the straight... Like, I tried real hard to be straight, and it didn't work. And especially trans people. It is so hard to be a trans person in this day and age. Why would anybody
want
just put themselves through that?
Yeah.
It's because it's something real and true inside them, and
they
have the courage.
Be anything else. Yeah.
But when you have discourse that is so devolved and so surface level, it's easy to spread this message and to cause a panic over these people who look so different. And then we stop talking about global warming. We stop talking about how the housing market's out of control and like it's too expensive to live. And instead we have all these social issues that we have to argue about.
Yep.
And then horrible things happen to women. Like you lose your right to have an abortion. Right freaking here. And in North Carolina now there's a ban in effect. So things have gone... It's a disaster. That's why we're calling this episode Dealing with Disaster.
Yeah, there's been a sharp turn in American politics since Trump was elected, without question.
Our sound guy is telling us to do a plug for voting, and it's true. I mean, we need to do it, and we need to not just vote, but we need to vote for our local office. We need to watch those elections.
But it is a lot to keep track of, and so that's something that Beacon could be used for, is making this... Just get that information that you need,
and get involved the way you want.
Right.
Because, I think everyone should vote. But then there's so many things we can do besides voting, and everybody's going to want to do something different. Like maybe you've got a truck that you can drive supplies around to people when there's a crisis. Or maybe you can help drive people who don't have limited transportation where they need to go. Or maybe you can grow food or teach about a subject that's important. Or maybe you're a nurse and you can give people healthcare advice. Or there's just a million ways to help. And it would be nice, and that's what we're creating, to have it all in one spot. This should be joyful, coming together, making the world a better place.
Building community,
yeah. It doesn't need to be a burden or a chore. It can be a lot of fun. Even during the hurricane recovery, it sounds like it wasn't all like...
Oh, no, there was so much tragedy during it. But of course, there was so much community building that that was the bittersweet. Like there was bitter and there was very, very sweet.
And these are the things that they make us tight-knit. They bring us together and show us that at the end of the day, you can't really rely on the government necessarily. You can't necessarily rely on corporations to save us, but we rely on each other. We do it automatically.